Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in this world. We are all coming together at one time in one place so that we can have amazing conversation as we do every week here on Blue TV. So we are here Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, and then you guys can figure out the rest of the time zones. But our goal when we are here is really to share valuable information that we as top voices, blue badges here on LinkedIn have been able to both learn and see success with ourselves. And our intent is always at the end of this, at the end of every episode, that you too have some great tips and or resources that you can go out and just elevate your game here and see some of that same success that we have. There are weeks where we have amazing guests, and then there are weeks where we are solo, just as I am today. So I'm super excited with our topic. But before we dive into that, I want to make mention that we are blessed, honored, super excited, happy, whatever adjective you want to use, that we have some amazing partners who sponsor our show. If you need anything related to marketing, more importantly, if you've got a live stream or a podcast that you need support with, or you have a conference you want to attend or even build out a conference, Market Me More is your ultimate resource for all things related to marketing, and especially as it is related to events. So make sure you reach out to that team. We have Cellivators, all things sales, whether you're looking for individual coaching, team coaching, consulting, fractional sales leadership, all things related to sales is Cellivators. And then, there are a lot of us out there trying to impact the world for the good. And if you either want to find someone who's made an impact, or you too want to join a group that is making impact, go to Top Voices Unite. So I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart for sponsoring us week in and week out. All right. So first off, first off was the sponsorships, right? But now, before we really dive in, I want to make sure that you guys let us know where you are located today. I'm here in Houston, Texas. We had 80-degree weather, 85 maybe yesterday. And today it is 57 degrees outside. Really cold. It is beautiful and sunny. So let us know where you're located. I'm super chilled today, but excited that we're starting to see a little bit more of the fall weather. If you are joining us after the episode, which we do have a lot of those that do, be sure to leave us the hashtag team replay so we can come back and tell us where you're located, so we can have amazing conversation even after the show. But as always, if you have comments for those that are live and you want to ask questions as we go through today's topic, or you want to share some of your own experiences around this topic, be sure to drop us comments below. Know that there's a slight delay by the time we see it in StreamYard, but that we will answer them and include you too in the conversation. So for those that are out there, again, a big warm welcome. We are super excited that you are here today. If you were here last week, sorry, not yesterday, but last week, we talked about really call to actions. Right? It is, how do we bring in that silent listener, the people who, as we know, are just scrollers, but are the ones, however, that actually do enlist our services, use our products, want to collaborate with us. But those are also the same ones that it takes a little bit of extra time and effort to actually develop a relationship or get them to engage in a way that is comfortable to them. Those lurkers, silent followers, whatever adjective you want to use to describe them, right, are those that really, don't engage for a reason, right? They usually don't like a post. They usually don't comment. They don't really find ways to engage because they're not loud and boisterous. They just want to learn more, want to find the right people to engage with. So it was primarily centered last week around that silent follower. How do we create call to actions that get them to engage? So we are taking that a bit further, and we're diving a bit deeper this week around call to actions, not necessarily specific to the silent follower, but definitely taking them into mind and just leveraging as a general tool a way that we can engage with our followers, whether loud and boisterous or silent or not, finding ways to engage with them. So, when we talk about today, our topic is really going to be your signature call to action, right? Having a few ready to go that you can interchange that are easily leveraged so that you can get both those loud, boisterous, and those silent people to engage with you. Because look, I mean, honestly, CTAs, for the most part, when you read a lot of posts, tend to be subscribe here, DM me, comment below, ring my bell, right? They are very, I don't know, we'll call those direct. But if your call to action, it really needs to be something that invites someone, that is less direct and invites someone into a conversation. I say this all the time. Two things I always point out. First off, we're all here to sell something, whether that is your product and your service, or it's your thought leadership, your brand, you want to collaborate. So you're messaging on what you do. It doesn't really matter, but we're all trying to sell something. That's important to be honest with yourself and recognize, because when you do that and you look at it through that lens, your call to actions, your content, everything will be much more directed towards what you're trying to accomplish. But the second thing is that I do believe, and the LinkedIn algorithm also rewards those who want to create conversation. It is really about fostering conversation here. And by the way, I'm sorry, I've been all into it. Melanie is mentioned that she's watching live from the Philippines. So thank you for being out there, Melanie. If you, again, let us know that you're out there by providing us where you're located, or simply asking us a question, providing your own experience, etc. But today it's really about how do we get your CTA to, how do we create a CTA that is really less about asking for a specific direct action, but really fostering conversation. And how do we build a personal CTA library, for a lack of better way to describe, some really go-to prompts that reflect your brand voice, that invite people in from the audience into the conversation, and just really enforce more trust and credibility with your audience. So think about your favorite creators, coaches, leaders, those that you really follow a lot. When they say something like, slide into my inbox with the word yes, or save this in the future. If you didn't know, you can save posts. It's on the top where the dots are. If you click on that, you can actually save. Sometimes, and I know there's a creator who does this amazingly, right? And so I save a lot of his stuff, but so save this so your future self can thank you, or you already know what to do, right? Those are the types of call to actions that I really do think that are intentional. And you will see that based on the way they write their post, when they're really good creators, when they write their post, their call to action seem more natural. So they identify with their brand, right? Your audience, your network, your community, whatever you want to describe them as, they really crave consistency from you, and they really crave that authenticity. So when your call to action actually feels authentic, is in alignment with your with your brand voice, they're more likely to trust you on your next step. And it feels then less repetitive, robotic, direct, because that's when they are more hesitant to actually not engage. So let's think of how to build out some call to actions that you can, put in a library and go to when needed. And I would say ideally build out like 3 to 5 so that you can rotate them in and out. And by the way, you don't have to have a call to action in every single post, right? If you are someone who only writes or creates content once a week, then you probably should. If you're creating content every day, you don't need a call to action every single post that you create. But you do need at least 3 to 5 that you can rotate in and out. And if you are struggling with when to include them, most certainly you can reach out in the DMs and let's have a conversation around that, or simply ask here in the comments below. But think of really specific categories when you are building out your call to actions that, again, you can rotate. So a library of them, right? You will probably want to build relationships. You want a call to action that is really about sharing or saving. One that probably provides your offer or really coaches, consults someone. You've got one that is really focused on participation, getting someone to engage with you. And then probably a less, like a more of a soft entry, right? Kind of a one that softly asks them to engage. So let's really categorize them. You've got a connect call to action that's going to build relationships. You should have a content call to action so that you can have them share or save. You should have a conversion call to action, which is really how are they going to buy your product or your service offering. You should have a community call to action, so for participation, right? And then you should have really a very soft call to action, which is like just a one that this is really for those ones that are your followers who are silent, who don't really engage very often, right? So let's talk about some of examples for those. So if we think about your connect call to action, where we're again building relationships, how about something like, let's swap stories, drop yours in the comments below. DM connect, and I'll share what's working behind the scenes. Those are 2 really good examples. It's really about asking them to engage in conversation that really does foster then relationships. If we're talking about a content call to action, think again around, you creating content, you want them to share it or you want them to save it, right? So an example of 2 examples maybe for this would be one, if this if this makes sense, then hit the save button for later. Or tag someone who needs to see this today. I do that. I've done that often. But getting them to either save or bring someone else into the conversation based just on content alone, something that you're sharing about, that will build credibility and trust, right? Third one, if we go back to this concept of conversion call to action, right? This is really for your offers in particular, or even, products, right? Could be products or service offerings. If your gut says yes, my calendar's waiting, I've got space. Or thinking maybe this is what you might need, then message me ready and let's engage in conversation, right? It could be something as simple. It's not DM me. It's, hey, message me ready and let's have a conversation. So if you're thinking maybe this is what I need, message me ready. Let's have a conversation, right? Making it less direct and more flowy, right? If you are looking for, again, building out your community, so you just want participation, right? And those are important. You do need to find ways to get them to participate, right? What would you have done in this situation? I'm all ears. We want to learn. That would be one. A second one might be, I want to highlight your stories in my next post. So share them below. And then if we think about that soft call to action, it's about something that, again, a lot of the silent followers, it would resonate with them. It's curious, but not ready to jump in. I've got a free, I don't know, something. Just ask, right? And Chella says, coming in from Asheville, which I bet you is colder than where I am. Chella, we were talking about earlier, it is 57 degrees here in Houston. It is sunny, but it's windy and 57. So, I'm guessing it's probably colder there. And we were just talking about when you're building out, last week was call to actions for the silent listener. Today, it's just call to actions in general and building out a library of them that you can swap in and out. And so and when you do that, they tend to be more in line with your brand voice. They tend to be more authentic than if you are just simply putting call to actions like DM me, subscribe, right? And a lot of times when we're not in that space, we tend to not always create really good off the cuff call to action. So building a library of them will be super helpful. We have 5 different types of call to actions. We've got connection, which is building relationship; content, which is really more about getting people to share or save your post; conversion, you want them to buy from you, your product, your service offering, you want to partner with them, whatever that might look like; community, so it's really just about participation, right? And getting them to engage with you. And then for those silent listeners, really having a very soft call to action, one that asks them to engage with you in a more subtle way. So, and I provided examples for each of those. If you are interested in hearing those again, let me know, or just go back and I do not know the point in which we started those. I don't know what minute we were at, but we can try to find that and drop that in the comments for you. But now, how do we make sure that as we're building out that library of different call to actions that fit in those different categories, it's really about making sure that it matches your brand voice. And this is where people really miss the mark the most. And I say, like, again, it should be an extension of a conversation. So your call to action should really reflect how you talk, how you serve, what you believe. If you're someone who's super direct, you can use more punchier call to actions like, need this solved? Let's cut to it, right? But if your brand is more nurturing and intuitive, right, you're not going to want to do that type. And by the way, that won't resonate with your audience. So maybe it's more about, if this resonated with you, I'd love to keep the conversation going. Just drop just drop an idea, comment, a thought below, or DM me with resonated, right? Could be something a little bit more simple. So you do have to understand what your brand voice is and make sure that your call to actions model your brand voice so it doesn't seem inauthentic. Sorry. You're not just asking for someone to do something. You are really asking them to engage with you. And when you look at it through that lens, people are more apt to truly, definitely engage with you, right? And then it's really about keeping them fresh so that you don't lose their trust. So Chella says it's 43 and feels like 23. Yeah, that's too cold for me. So consistency doesn't really mean, so when we talk, so keeping it fresh without losing trust. So how can you be consistent without replicating all the time, right? So that's why having a library of them, you can rotate them, you can tweak them, but you don't at least have to reinvent them all the time, but you are moving them in and out so that the problem with that most people have is that they don't have a library of call to action. So it just seems like an add-on and usually doesn't flow. Or it's the same one every single time, or maybe it's the same one, just maybe tweaked each time. It is really, though, about being, when we talk about consistency, it's not about the same call to action. It's consistency in your brand voice, consistency in your authenticity. So use the library of call to actions to rotate them. You can most certainly tweak them, but rotate them so how you're asking to engage with them is different each time. Melanie says, like making it more conversational rather than transactional. Yes. You know, there are people who attempt to be really good storytellers, and then all of a sudden they end it as though it's transactional, right? And maybe that's the best way to look at it, Melanie. You brought up a great point. I even talk about in sales how important it is to think strategically and not transactionally. And your conversation should be that way as well. When you're engaging with someone on your in your content, if you're engaging with them, you know, through the DMs and having conversation with them there, it's about being strategic and not transactional, not putting someone in a position to think you're just really trying to do business. And that's where most people miss the mark. They won't have this library. It won't be super authentic. They'll create their post. It's a great story. And then they put this transactional based type of direct type of call to action that doesn't feel authentic, but just says DM me, subscribe, ring my bell, right? And it doesn't really flow. So I would just make sure that you rotate those in and out and make sure that each time they're flowing. So why don't we try this now while we have still a little bit of time? Drop one of your call to actions in the comments below, or maybe one that just sticks in your head, and let's talk about that one. Emily Dukoski says, hi, Denise, coming in from Michigan. Hey, Emily. So I'm super excited. We got Melanie, Chella, Emily. I'm sure we have others out there. Gino's usually out here. So Gino, where are you at? We usually have quite a few that are behind the scenes that watch, that don't actually engage. Because remember, from last week's session, we have a lot of silent followers who don't actually like to engage. And you don't even know that they're actually watching your content, reading your content, or even reading the comments below. So it is our opportunity when we're building these call to actions. They should be call to actions that you can rotate in and out, that focuses both on those that are loud and boisterous and who do regularly engage with you, as well as the silent ones. So Emily, we have been talking a lot about what the how to build a call to action library, and that you should have 5 separate categories and then some ideas for those already there. Because when you don't have a library, most, or a lot of us, I won't say most, but a lot of people who create call to actions will write a beautiful story, it's resonating, and then they'll have this, you know, direct call to action that doesn't even flow with the rest of the post. And it's something like, you know, DM me, subscribe, ring my bell, right? But instead, build these call to actions that really do flow, that model your brand voice, that flow with the way you've written the content, that seems authentic, and that asks them, really more importantly, to engage with you in conversation. So drop maybe some of your favorite call to actions that you use, or maybe one that just sticks in your head, that, you know, whether you like it or not, but so that let's talk through them. So if you've got one, drop it in the comments below. If not, we're just going to keep going. I do want to remind everyone that while I am doing a solo this week, we do have guests. So if you know of any top voices that you'd love to see on our show, then be sure to drop us a DM or in the comments below, and let's get someone else up here. We've had some great guests here already. We still have a couple left for the calendar year, but we can always add more. So definitely let us know who you'd be interested in having conversation with here on Blue TV. Usually, or not usually, our goal on Blue TV every week is to make sure we give you some tips and tricks that we've learned that have helped us elevate our game, helped us see success here on LinkedIn so that you too can see some of that same success. And that when we leave each episode, you've got something that you can go and do yourself. So no one's really dropping any comments below with their favorite call to action. So I'm going to leave you then just with this challenge, which is make sure that your challenge should be to build out a library of call to actions. You don't have to have an extensive one, really 3 to 5. Gino says, call to action. Let me know what you think of this strategy and comment or reach out if you need a little help implementing it. Oh, I love that. That's a really good one because you're not telling them they have to do anything. It's not just a simple, hey, subscribe, DM me. It's like, hey, if you like this strategy, tell me what you think about it. Even if you don't like it, tell me what you think about it. You can comment or you can DM me, especially if you need really some help implementing it. Love that one, Gino. Thank you for providing that. Your challenge, Marnie. Hey, Marnie. And by the way, hey, Gino. Hey, Marnie. Marnie says, my colleague and I are outreach coordinators who work to increase awareness about the services. I'm guessing Minnesota Department of Transportation, probably, or technology provides, and the role it takes to provide them. We can help connect students with tour of the regional transportation. Oh, it is transportation. A driver will bring a snow plow to your location, and outreach can prepare a presentation or activity. Classroom speakers. Okay, so that's a really long call to action, Marnie. I appreciate. So first, let me say thank you for engaging and super excited that you're here and really thankful that you put yourself out there. I would say really a call to action should be a little bit shorter than that. And really, so it would be the way I would probably take this is we can help connect students with tour of the region. Have a student that don't know the services that we offer, then just reach out to us either in the comments below or DM us, and we can share a little bit about what we provide our students and our parents. Maybe something like that would be a great call to action. That would be one where you're trying to engage with them, right? So that's more of a connection. So we think about, I'll just remind everyone what the 5 types of call to actions might be, the categories that I would place them under. You've got a connect call to action, which builds relationships. You've got one that's centered around content with the hopes that they share or save it. You've got a conversion call to action, which is, you want them to buy your product or your service offering or, collaborate with you or whatever it is that you're trying to sell. Because again, reminder, we're all selling something, whether we want to admit that or not. A community call to action, which is really, hey, especially Marnie, it's not overwhelming. I appreciate you even putting out there. It's really just taking the message and reducing it. So if I think about, a community call to action, for example, it's really about, what do you do? Who do you call when you have issues? Who do you call when the snow has piled up and you have no one else to reach out? And you want to know how to safely get to school, right? So you've told a story about, the snow, and then it's really getting them to engage in that conversation. That would be more of a community one. The one I kind of summarized for you at the very beginning was really more of a connect, building relationships, right? And then there is, lastly, the 5th one is really the one that speaks to the silent followers, which is, just a soft call to action, right? All of your call to actions should warrant, foster, really value the conversation. So you've started a conversation and now you want them to engage with you in that conversation. So my really challenge to you guys is to really pick even just 3 call to actions that you can build out. They don't have to be in all of those categories. pick your category that you'd like to build some out, and make sure that you put them, that you go ahead and build them out ahead of time. They're more likely to be more aligned with your brand voice and more aligned with your authenticity when you go ahead and plan them out, knowing that you want to rotate those 3 to 5 that you've created. So at least create 3 today, and then start to rotate them in and out. And you can tweak them based on the content that you're creating. So maybe you need to tweak it a bit so it models the way you were speaking or the story you were telling, but use those to rotate in and out. That is my challenge to you today. Create 3. So I hope today, I first want to thank everyone that was out there. Marnie, thank you for joining us. Gino, Melanie, Emily, Chella. I know that there are more out there who are either those silent followers or who are coming back after the show. If you come back after the show has gone live, then be sure just to leave us the hashtag team replay and let us know where you're dialing in from. Also, if you have questions, you've kind of processed this information and you have some questions, you can drop them in the comments or DM me directly and let's have a conversation. I really want to help everyone to build better call to actions so that we differentiate ourselves from the sea of others here on LinkedIn. As you know, or I think you know, for those that may be joining us for the first time and don't know, we are here every Wednesday from 10 or at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, with our goal to share great tips and tricks so that when each episode is done, you have something that you can actually do directly after so that you too can see some of the same success that those of us who are on the Blue TV have actually experienced ourselves, right? We are all usually top voices. Sometimes we have amazing guests. We try to bring those in ever so often. We've had some great ones this year. We still have a couple more good ones to go. If you know of a top voice, Blue badge, that you'd love to see here on Blue TV or that you'd love to engage in conversation with, also let us know and let's reach out to them and get them on here for you. We've been talking about the last couple of weeks call to actions. I'm hoping that what you got out of here were some tips and tricks on how to build some standard call to actions under some categories that help you engage in a way that fosters more conversation with your audience, your community, your followers, etc. So I want to thank everyone for being out here. I also want to thank our sponsors again. All things marketing is Market Me More. All things sales is Cellivators. And if you're looking for someone or you yourself want to expand your impact, that is Top Voices Unite. So again, thank you to everyone, to Melanie back there for supporting us on the live stream. And we will be back here again next week. I want to wish everyone a wonderful remainder of your day. Happy Hump Day. We'll see you again here next week. And let me know how your challenge went. You can drop in the comments below. You can DM me, but let us know how it's going. And I can't wait to see some of your call to actions. Thank you, everyone. Marnie, most certainly, if you want to kind of tweak that, let me know as well. Have a great rest of your day again. I'll talk to you guys later.